my island in the sun. Oh, my island home, my island home. Let me tell you about where I'm from, my island in the sun. Oh.
And just like that, we're cleared out of Bequia. Very easy, a little bit of a line ahead of us today. One guy with about 15 passports or so. Another boat from Denmark that had people clearing out in 3 days and 5 days, and then today, and they were questioning why they couldn't clear out everybody right now, and lots of rules and time, but we got through. We were quick and easy about it.
And we're off from Bequia, truly one of my favorite islands for its ease of living aboard and friendly local people.
And now to sail to the west coast of St. Vincent. Yes, the island where the knife incident occurred, but hopefully to a nicer village and anchorage of Chateaubelair. Let's see what's in store for us there. It's gotta be better, right?
But I still believe that you still believe that we still believe.
The question has come up, why do I always wear this as often as I do? Am I afraid of falling overboard? Well, number one, yes. They say that if you fall overboard, consider yourself dead. You play by that rule, then you're probably going to be safe. So 3 points, always contact on the boat, 2 feet and an arm whenever you're grabbing something, etc. Also like to strap myself in if we're doing some tacking or anything else on the boat, or if I have to climb up to the mast area. But the number one reason why you should wear this on a boat is because of that. Whenever you've got fishing line out, you're going to have to go get it if it's get caught in some sargassum, or if, God forbid, you actually catch a fish. So lo and behold, just clip yourself in. You don't have to worry about it.
But I still believe that you still believe that we still believe somewhere there might be a spark. 'Cause nobody's watching you fall.
Your journey is radically different than mine. Next, you'll be reading a book or surfing the net.
Have to comfortably chronicle our adventure in the captain's log.
You know you have your sails trimmed right when you've got 9 knots of wind and you're going 5.86 knots. I'm grateful to the guy out there who is in the monohull, because I was looking, why is he catching up to us? And then I saw how his sails were trimmed, and I thought I'd try it out on our mainsail, and it worked beautifully. Now we're sort of leaving him in the dust.
Believe that you still believe that we still believe somewhere there might be a spark.
Beautiful little bay.
Island of drugs, in God we trust, in God we trust. The gold, the island of drugs.
And always remember, kids, if you physically are able, dive your anchor as soon as you put it down. You never know if it's going to be a good ground or snarled on a rock or coral head. Here's an example of a good dig.
Trust in God we trust. All I wanna be is what I'm destined to be.
And once down below is taken care of, time to check out the above with Bat Guy.
Chateaubelair, a village of 5,746 people located on St. Vincent's west coast, where time seems to slow to a drunken stagger.
It's nestled under the ominous shadow of La Soufrière volcano,
Because who doesn't love living next to a geological time bomb?
and was originally inhabited by the Carib people,
Now called Kaliniago people for politically correct reasons.
who probably picked the locations for its strategic value.
A peaceful folk they were. Just ask the happy Arawaks, if you can find any left.
The Europeans then colonized the area because the sugar trade was in full swing at the time, but needed laborers to farm the land.
So they invited their friends from Africa to lend a helping hand and share in the prosperity to come.
Invited, you say. Sharing prosperity, you claim.
Well, everyone seems to be putting a twist on the facts these days to feel good about themselves, so I thought I'd do my part.
Yeah, helpful.
Today, Chateaubelair is truly a paradox. Rich in history, poor in infrastructure, culturally vibrant, economically quite poor.
Tourists rarely make it here, so the area enjoys a certain under-the-radar mystique.
Okay, we're here to give you our experience, what we have seen, and what the village's reputation is like from our perspective. Some of you will disagree, Some will actually be mad, but this is our authentic reality. Notice how I threw in a trendy buzzword there? Next time I'll be saying something like, this is a great space for entertaining.
As you saw from the Beware video, St. Vincent's does not have the greatest reputation. Some would call it sketchy, but like all places, keep your wits about you, don't wear flashy jewelry, and stick to the better parts of town.
Lock up your boat at night, and don't keep anything on deck you don't mind vanishing in the darkness of night. That's a good possibility.
We also have motion detector alarms and lights, so that's helpful.
The other thing is it has somewhat relentless boat boys. A slow stream of adults and children coming to sell you something, or just asking you for candy, fishing equipment, clothing, or even your new paddleboard, because obviously you can afford it, right? As long as you're polite in your responses, the conversations go fine. Just be prepared for those conversations to occur, and they are not over quick.
However, there is Kemroy, who is on the Facebook pages and WhatsApp, and he is a true and honest gentleman.
You got it.
Some people come to your boat and say they are sent by him,
But they are not.
He can show you where to anchor and even tour you around the area for an incredibly reasonable price.
On his heels is little Chavez, who has his own plans to give tours to the island and make it really big.
These are the two we know that you can trust. We've met many others who are, well,
Less than viable with the truth. Yes, Kemroy and Chavez. We vouch for them.
What's your name? Chavez. Thank you for coming and helping us out, selling us the bananas, the limes, the oranges. That was really great. And if anybody needs him, he's on Navily, so look him up and he'll help with the boat anchoring. Thank you, man.
thank you very much.
And you asked for the right stuff. 100 feet and a reel. This is all I got. He asked for it. Only one.
So as the sun gets lower in the sky, we sit out on the bow for our sundowner, knowing that we will only be here overnight and off to St. Lucia the next morning.
And if you enjoy our entertainment, energize that like button below as it encourages engagement with our episodes for entities like you, who will evidently embrace it too.
Entities?
Covering all pronouns.
Just no.
And welcome to our new enthusiastic subscriber, Darren M.
So we're on our way to Rodney Bay in St. Lucia, having just left Chateaubelair, which is a beautiful bay on St. Vincent. Not too much wind today, but here we are out on the water, and had a little bit of an interesting start to our sailing adventure today.
As we were raising the main halyard, our electric winch decided that it would unscrew itself, pop the top off, and there's two little metal tabs that need to be inserted in. So I got out some silicone grease to try to set them in there, but they're about 2 gopher hairs too thick to get the main steel self-tailing part. We can still use the winch, we just can't self-tail, so the adventures continue as to how we are going to solve that problem now.
Exactly.
Yay!
Is this halfway down? I'm looking for the reasons. These days it's hard to tell. How did we get here? How did we find this place? I'm looking back now, I can barely see your face.
And this is generally what the passage looks like from in the saloon of a catamaran as opposed to a monohull. It also makes a difference in comfort being about 6 feet lower than the helm. While the ride is still wave affected, it is much less rocky and not as windy.
So you could actually sit and read a book or surf the internet while I'm surfing waves?
I think it's cute how you think you're funny.
Ahem.
Pitons are volcanic spire-shaped mountains located on the southwestern coast of St. Lucia, formed millions of years ago. The Twin Peaks,
Gros Piton and Petit Piton, named after Madonna, right?
are a UNESCO World Heritage Site and stand about 798 meters
2,618 feet.
above the ocean.
Yeah, big height. Where's the gondola? This is where we talk about the joy of anchoring and having brand new chain. You care to explain this one while I sit back and be entertained out of striking distance?
You can go for that spiritually awakening cold beverage now if you want.
I just might.
Okay, the wind was strong that afternoon, coming in at about 18 knots right on the bow, so I had to keep the engines revved higher than normal to prevent us from drifting backwards. Additionally, there was current from the outgoing tide.
And I'm sure there are orcas nipping at the rudders and the sun was blinding you in the face.
Just sit there and look pretty. Nobody likes a wise guy. So Liam deployed the anchor with our brand new and untested chain, while I put the engines into a healthy reverse to set the hook. Let's just say the wind, the current, and the extra oomph of the engines made for a rather quick reverse. And in my defense, the bridle was not on yet to distribute the load. Well, the chain got caught on a rather large and sharp rock, and snap went one of the links.
So I had to quickly assess the situation, create an emergency bridle with our backup Danforth anchor, and use our hurricane chain and rope to get us anchored again. This time without as much zeal in reverse. I then dove in, found our rockna anchor on the bottom, tied a float to it, grabbed our tender saucy, and lifted the 77-pound anchor off the bottom and into the boat.
Fortunately, the link that snapped was only about 1 meter
3 feet.
from the connection to the anchor, so very little chain lost.
So what were the lessons learned, and what would we do differently in the future? Here is our clickbait list of 5 things we now do religiously.
And a bonus one too.
Number 1.
Regardless of wind speed, we only allow the boat to back down slowly as we feed out the chain.
Number 2.
Once we feed out enough road,
Length of chain, usually 5-to-1 ratio minimum.
and the chain is taut, we then back down a little faster to dig the anchor into the seabed.
Number 3.
We slowly accelerate up to 1200 to 1500 RPM
Current and drift dependent.
and get to the point where the anchor grabs.
Number 4.
Then hook up the bridle and slowly bring up the RPMs again to about 1200
Current and drift speed dependent.
and make sure we do not move.
Number 5. Then I dive in to see the anchor is embedded, not snagged, and the chain is clear of any rocks or coral.
The bonus hint is from our follower, Benj B, as he suggested we let out all the chain while anchored in good sand, slowly do points 1 through 5, but accelerate up to 2000 RPM and test all the chain for any weak links.
So we did, and so far so good.
Another successful check-in at St. Lucia. Bureaucratically friendly for the most part, the 2 ladies were. The gentleman was very happy and friendly. And now off to the chandlery to pick up some grease, because as you know, grease is the word have you heard, have you heard. And here it is, the boat that made them rich. This will be St. Lucia for the past couple days. A lot of wind, and you might even be able to see the rain being blown sideways. All with an anchor that is barely dug into the ground because it's like a hard shale or slate with a dusting of sand over top.
If we are here for some extra time, might as well make homemade pizza.
Now for the exciting part of having to manually pull up the emergency anchor.
Don't make it sound too tough, Hercules. Remember, it was barely dug into the seabed, as it was just a dusting of sand on shale.
Note to self, Mojo retrieves the next one.
Oh, there won't be a next one. Lesson learned.
So here's the black dock line I tied to make a bridle, as I previously brought in all the remaining chain. Then the hurricane rope,
Think really thick gym class climbing rope.
which I attached to the emergency anchor, which had about 20 feet
6.5 meters.
of chain attached. An extra overnight on St. Lucia due to weather, and now off to Martinique.
One day we will give St. Lucia a chance, but so far it has just been a Richard Petty pit stop.
Whoa, Richard Petty? I'm impressed.
Oh, wait until I work in Dale Earnhardt.
Be still my heart.
So this is not what the weather forecast called for, and the waves were supposed to be about 1 meter, 1.5 meters. They're easily 2 meters, so 6 to 8 foot waves easily. So it's going to make for a little bit of a rougher ride than we expected going from St. Lucia to Martinique. And I'm hoping you can hear this. A 16 to 23, oh, big wave. not wind. It's been 23 sustained. We've had to go down to a reef in our head sail. We couldn't lower the mainsail because the waves were too big. So I just depowered the mainsail by letting out the sheet so some of it just spills off of it. Doing all right.
So we want to be in that area anchoring, but a big storm is about to come upon us, so we're just going to hang out right here and wait out the storm and then head into anchor.
Don't be jealous. I'll be heading to the next town before light.
I think I'll just reminisce about anchoring at Chateaubelair. That was such a nice, calm, and beautiful bay. Nothing could go wrong here while we're trying to anchor, right?
Thanks for sharing our journey and subscribing. And check out this next video, as we believe Jimmy Johnson would like it too.
Enough for you.